Hey y'all, today we are making some Christmas crack. All right, so the first one that we're going to make is a praline crack. So you're going to need some graham crackers. Go ahead and get your oven preheated to 350 and then line your cookie sheet with some parchment paper, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to lay these crackers out to cover the bottom of your cookie sheet. Now, you're going to have to break some of them probably unless you have a completely, you're lucky and it just ends up being even. But that's okay. You're not going to see these once it cooks. This is just kind of the base, the bottom of it. So just get them on there the best that you can, to get pretty much a full coverage of crackers on the bottom of your pan. So you want to make sure you get your crackers ready first so that they are ready to go once you pull this off the stove, okay? Because it kind of goes pretty quick. So to your stove, to a pot on your stove, you're going to add 2 sticks of butter. And we're going to let those melt down because we're going to add sugar to this. But if you add the sugar before the butter's melted, then sometimes your sugar will get too hard. Does that make sense? So get your butter melted at least most of the way. Then you're going to add in 1 cup of packed brown sugar. Now, this is, like I said, praline crack. So we're making it sort of like we would make pralines. Now, if you've never made pralines before, they are delicious. I will link my praline video. I made them last year in one of my Christmas videos. I'll link that down below if anybody wants to just make some regular pralines. But this is kind of the same principle. So you get your butter melted, and then you're going to add your brown sugar, and we're going to cook this, stirring it pretty constantly. Once it comes to a boil like this, you're going to boil it for 5 minutes. As soon as 5 minutes is up, get it off the heat, okay? Because it's going to start to harden. So you can see that I have a lot of bubbles in mine. That's because my fire was too hot. I wasn't paying attention. I was making a lot of stuff this day. And for some reason, I spaced. And so my pot got too hot. But that's okay. It didn't burn or anything. It just, if you heat it too quickly or too hot, then you sometimes will get a lot more bubbles. Anyway, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. So once you bring it off the heat, you're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla and create more bubbles, obviously. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get this poured right over top of our crackers. Now, like I said, don't worry too much about the bubbles. They're pretty much just bubbles of butter. So it'll all soak in and it'll be just fine. So go ahead, pour it over the top, and then you need to work quickly. You can see how this is already starting to get pretty thick. It's going to set up really, really fast. If you've ever made pralines before, they set up real quick. So just kind of make sure that you get enough of this caramel sauce on all of your crackers, so you have it on every cracker, and all the pieces will be yummy and delicious. So then you're going to add on some chopped pecans. And again, make sure you work quickly because you want your pecans to stick down into that caramel. You don't want them just like sitting on top and then falling off. Does that make sense? So I used probably about a cup of chopped pecans. Use as many as you like. If you don't want this many, you certainly don't have to use this many. If you want to make a solid layer of pecans, you can do that too. Just, it's your stuff. You do it how you want to. So get your pecans put on top, and then I just kind of pressed them, just a tiny bit, like pushed on the pecans just a little bit to make sure that they were down in there. You're going to pop that in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes, okay? Once it comes out, it's still going to be pretty soft. It's going to be really hot. Let it sit on the counter and cool down. And then once it cools down, to maybe room temperature, pop it in the refrigerator and let it sit in the refrigerator for a couple of hours until it's completely cooled and it's hardened, okay? And this is what it's going to look like when it comes out of the refrigerator. It's nice and hard. It's a solid piece now. And now all you got to do is break it apart. And I'm guessing this is why they call this stuff crack. Now, you could call it crack just because it tastes so darn good, but it's made with crackers and you have to crack it apart. So y'all let me know down in the comments, do you know why exactly the reason is that we call this crack? Because I don't know, enlighten me. Teach me, family, teach me. So you just break that apart, y'all, and that's all there is to our praline crack. Okay, so the next one that we're going to make is pecan pie crack. Now, these are very similar, but I wasn't real sure what the taste difference was going to be, so I wanted to make both. Plus, the ingredients are almost the same, except for in one you use brown sugar and one you use white sugar. So I thought I'll leave it in here because I almost didn't do them both because they were so similar. But then I thought, maybe somebody doesn't have brown sugar or maybe somebody doesn't have white sugar. And this way, whichever one you have a recipe you can use. Now, I'm using my jelly roll pan because I thought, maybe that would be easy. Well, you're going to see in a minute why you don't use a jelly roll pan when you make these. So, anywho, kind of like I said, the same principle. You're going to put 2 sticks of butter in your pan and you're going to let those melt down. But instead of the brown sugar this time, we are going to add in some white sugar. So I went ahead and added in my vanilla before it got too hot because I didn't, vanilla has a lot of alcohol in it a lot of times and it'll just kind of bubble up and cook straight out of your pan. So do it when it's not super hot. So I added in a teaspoon of vanilla and then a cup of white sugar. Okay. So we're going to get those mixed up. And then the difference that we're doing with this one to the last one that you saw is we're going to add our pecans into this caramel mixture. Okay. Now you can do it, like I said, either one of these, you can use them kind of interchangeably. If you always want to put the pecans in, you can. If you don't want to put the pecans in, you can save them and put them at the end. So anywho, I went ahead, I added in probably about a cup and three-quarters of pecans. And then you're going to do the same as you did the last time. You're going to bring this to a boil. Once it starts boiling, let it cook for about 4 or 5 minutes, okay? And just like the last one, this is going to start hardening up. So once you get it off the heat, you need to pretty quickly get it onto your crackers. Now, go ahead. Like I said, we're going to put this. You can see it's quite a bit lighter than our last one was, just because brown sugar in the last one, white sugar in this one. So as you can see with my little jelly roll pan here, as I'm pouring, there's not really much of a lip on the inside, where the crackers are. So my stuff is going off the side. Now, I realized it pretty quickly and I was able to catch it because, like I said, it starts to set up pretty quick. So if that happens to you, you can catch it. Now, it ended up working out fine, but if I wouldn't have been paying attention, that could have gone a whole lot worse than it did. So you're just going to spread that out over your crackers, and then we're going to need to put this on a cookie sheet. So I started wiping up where it had spilled, and as you can see, it's already starting to harden up. So it's very easy to clean up. See back there, the little thing is just one solid piece already. So if you use this little silicone pan like I did, just slide it onto a regular cookie sheet. And this is one that I have, obviously, that doesn't have a lip on it. So it was real easy for me to slide it on there. And then the cleanup was just that right there. See there? Super easy. But anyway, I would recommend a cookie sheet with sides and not a jelly roll pan. Anywho, pop that in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes, just like the last one. This is what it's going to look like when it comes out. Let it cool completely and then put it in the refrigerator for several hours, just like the last one. And then it is ready to go. And you can see as I picked up the silicone, it just pops it right on out of there. But look at that. This one right here was my son's favorite. He liked this one the best of all of them. But y'all, any of these, you can't go wrong. I promise you, if you make these, y'all are going to love them. And they're so stinking easy. Okay, so for our last one, we're going to make the Christmas crack. The actual true Christmas crack. So we are using like the club crackers, and obviously mine are the Dollar General brand because that's where we got them from. But just, the little, y'all know what I mean, like a club cracker. So put those on your cookie sheet, and I forgot to record when I was making this, but what this mixture is the 2 sticks of butter, a cup of brown sugar, and some chopped pecans. Okay, cook it the same exact way we cooked the other ones. Then we're going to pour that over the top of our crackers, and we're going to spread that out just like with the last two, as even as we can. And again, it will start to set up on you, so you need to work pretty quickly. Just be careful. You know, you want to get this on all of your crackers, but, you know, as it hardens, it's a little bit more difficult to spread. So just do the best that you can and work pretty quick, okay? So once you get it spread out, pop this into the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes, just like the last one. When you pull it out of the oven, as soon as you pull it out, add a bag of white chocolate chips. Okay, we're going to add the whole bag. Now, I made a Christmas crack last year, and I used milk chocolate instead of white chocolate, and I used Hershey bars. I will link that video down below for y'all too if you want to check that one out. But what you're going to do, put your bag of white chocolate over there, and then we're going to pop this back into the oven for about 30 seconds or so, just enough to kind of melt those chocolate chips, just to get them melty. You see, they're not, you know, like super melted. You don't want to overcook it. But once you bring them out and your chocolate chips or your white chocolate chips are nice and soft, you're just going to real carefully spread those out, because your under part is not super set yet because it's still hot. So just spread your white chocolate chips out, and then you're going to take some of your favorite Christmas sprinkles. I'm going to go with those right there, just kind of the smaller. I didn't want huge sprinkles on there, but I thought these would be cute. It had all the pretty colors in it. So while it's hot, you're just going to go ahead and sprinkle your sprinkles just right over the top until you get as many on there as you want. And that little small container, I just ended up using all of the sprinkles that was in there. That's how much it took. So that's what I used. And then you're going to do just like with the other two, you're going to let it sit on the counter until it cools down, you know, about to room temperature, and then pop it in the refrigerator for a couple of hours until it is nice and set. And then just like the other ones, you're going to pop this out and you're just going to break it into pieces. Now, I will tell y'all, it looks like it's hard, you know, like super hard when you break it. But when you eat these, like the caramel part in all of these is soft. Not like soft, like runny, but you have the crunch of the cracker and the kind of saltiness on these regular crackers. And then you have that white chocolate on this one, or the pecans, and that yummy like praline kind of coating. Y'all, I am telling you, these things are so dang good. If you've never made Christmas crack, I don't know what you're waiting for. You've got to make this. They're super easy. It makes a ton, and you can do so many different things with them. So let me know if you've ever made it. If you make something different, let me know that too. All right, that's all I've got for y'all today. I will catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.